Good, because I need practice with it. There we go. Today I get to sit with Martin Sobczyk. Now, how Sobczyk starts with an S-O-B, I'm not sure. But we've spelled it right, and that's how you say it. Martin, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For being here. This is one I'm honestly, what you've got going and what you're doing is, I just want everybody to take notes because it's bold. And I like that. It's confident and bold. I want to start with, as I often do, I'm a curious person. And so when I see an adult acting in a certain way, I think, okay, what were your influences? Where did it start? What were your first thoughts of this is the way it is? And who installed those? Tell me about your parents, your childhood. Where did all that forming happen? Tell me about it.
Sure. Before we start,
yes,
I'll say a little bit nervous. My first podcast, and I started listening to your podcast about a year and a half ago, and I knew I'd be in the seat. Like I knew it. I just didn't know when. And I just had this feeling like I was meant to be here. And the more I listened to it, I felt at home with the crowd that you have and everybody there.
What an awesome group of people, huh? If you listen to, I can't think of one that doesn't blow my mind, to be honest with you.
And I knew this is my spot. I just didn't know it was going to be this quick.
Yeah.
I had like a 5-year plan that I got accelerated in like a year.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, when I got invited to be here, I'm like, it was meant to be a lot faster than I thought.
Well, the fact that you want to be here says a lot about how you see yourself and where you're going. There are those who play around with things. And then there are those who say, I'm on it. Watch this. Here goes. I'm going. And that's the center of it, of who I see when I see you, is that you're not messing around with this. You've made a decision. I'm going for it. If I feel over my skis or if I'm a little nervous, I'll deal with that, but I'm going. And man, right there's a takeaway. Action in spite of fear. That's Coolidge's definition of courage.
Yeah.
Action in spite of fear. It's not like we're not afraid. I mean, there's a lot of scary things that can happen, but you do it anyway and you work through it. And so where were those roots? What examples did you have? What influence did you have? I'm all about seeing where you started, and then we kind of figure out how you got this way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say typical immigrant family, but it is kind of typical, the American dream. My parents, they don't ever really talk about their past. Like my dad is, it's a typical European Polish man, like no emotions, like must work, so I have to get a lot of this throughout the years through, my brother. He has more of this, curious side to kind of understand my dad's story. Mm-hmm. So over the years, the older we got, the more we kind of wanted to understand our roots. Mm-hmm. So we got more information the last, decade from like kind of how we even came about here. Mm. But, it was during the 80s, 70s and 80s. My parents were from Poland. It was a communist era back then. So it was very, after World War II, everything's, restricted. It was very influenced from, we had Russia, Germany. So it was very, it was a hard place to third world country back in the 70s and 80s. Poland, a lot of struggles there. So my dad, he was in the Polish Navy, and he got to kind of travel the world and experience, the world outside of, Poland and communism. So I think he at core was a visionary. He was an entrepreneur, even though, he doesn't call himself an entrepreneur, but he always was an entrepreneur. So I think part of maybe my mindset came from him, even though he's never really talked about his past. But he met my mother. My mother was about 12 years younger than my father. And then he was in the Polish Navy, and that's where he met my mom's brother, and they met like that. Hmm. And, during that time, everything was restricted in Poland. So, this is where the story, I don't get full pictures of it, but throughout the years, my dad sometimes opens up a little bit. But he was an entrepreneur, so he used to do things that maybe weren't, I wouldn't say legal, illegal, whatever. He found ways to make money, and from my understanding, he was super successful in Poland. He was one of he always brags about, I was the richest guy on the block. I had the Mercedes-Benz that nobody had. And he was also helping the community. He was actually helping people. He was giving things that they didn't have. But he also got caught up in the political game. And he was a political activist, kind of, being against communism. And from my understanding, he actually went to jail for 2 years. And at that time, that's when he knew he had to get out, because he didn't know the future of what his future looked like. So at that time, he met my mother at the same time frame. My mom was in her 20s. She was a nurse, and she probably had a good life, ahead of her. But she took the gamble, the risk, and they escaped Poland. From my understanding, my dad, he was on bond, and he left. He escaped with fake names. Because he knew his future there was, he didn't know. It might be 10 years, might be 15 years, might be 20 years in prison. He had no idea. So this is a story like I never truly get from my father.
Right.
He just sometimes opens up about it, but he always tells me, they could write a book about me. They could do all this. There's so much you guys don't know. And I wish I could get more from him, but he doesn't ever talk about it. It's just sometimes when he drinks, he'll open up, and then I get a little bit glimpses of it, because he doesn't remember the next day what he told me. But I remember it because I don't drink anymore. So all these conversations I remember.
Right.
So they took that huge gamble, and they came to the U.S. From my understanding, I was born in Germany, so they escaped Poland. They went to Germany in '84. I was born in '86. So for 2 years, they were in a refugee camp in Germany. And at that time, they met somebody else, and they got sponsored to come to U.S. So that's where we landed in Tacoma, Washington. Back in the day, it's still there. There's a Polish community. There's a church on Portland Avenue, and in the early 90s, it was very heavy with Polish people, that area. So they got sponsored, and they came to the U.S. And that's kind of where the whole story starts, with them taking that.
How old were you at that point?
So I was born in Germany. We came here in '88, so I was 2 years old.
2 years old. And do you have a younger brother?
At that time, it's just me.
Just you?
Just me.
Right.
And then, from my understanding, the typical immigrant, they don't know what they're doing. They have no English, no money, zero. I mean, they have $500 to their name. So we ended up in, I would say, Section 8 housing for a couple years. And then my dad always said, fake it till you make it. He always bragged about, I know how to do it. And he told me he got his first job working in Alaska on fishing boats and being a chief engineer. And he just fake it till you make it. He was a MacGyver. I mean, to this day, my dad was always a MacGyver. He could just find ways to do stuff and just always be a MacGyver. So a lot of the things now, the older I get, I kind of understand maybe where I get some of my entrepreneurship from, which is my father, but he's not a business owner. But he was.
Right.
But he never talks about it. So throughout the years, I'm finding that out as I get older, because the last, 20 years, I had no time to really think about it. It's just like, older I get, I'm like, wow, that all makes sense. So then, then it's just typical kind of a good life. It wasn't great. It was just a typical working life.
Did your mom work as a nurse here?
So my mom was a nurse, and this is kind of where I also see now the more I reflect, and this is where this podcast this is the first time ever in the last 20 years where I took time every single day for the last 3 weeks to really reflect.
Think about it.
Because I've had that time to really think, how do I get to where I'm at today?
Yeah.
And this podcast kind of forced me to take a pause and start writing things down and start trying to understand, who am I? Like, how did I get to this point in my life? And honestly, before this podcast, I never really cared to know. I didn't have time to know. And now I'm like, I kind of understand me now. I kind of understand where I get the craziness from.
Yeah.
My parents.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but it took me this podcast to really be like, that makes sense. Like my mother, she was my hero. She passed away about 12 years ago from cancer. She was, 50 years old. But I talk to my mother every single day when she was alive. I mean, she was my best friend. I mean, literally my best friend. But now I understand her drive. She was a CNA for, a couple of years, then she became an LPN. And she was a nurse for, her whole life. But her struggle was always, she was trying to she was RN in Poland. So when she left, she was a registered nurse. When she came here, her licenses weren't the same because it was, early 90s. It took her almost 12 years to pass the NLEX test to become an RN. But for 12 years, she did not give up. And she knew medical. It was just a vocabulary, right? She struggled with the vocabulary of the testing. It wasn't even medical terms. It was just more the way the test is structured. You have to kind of understand, the language very well. She struggled, but she passed that. But I just remember every living moment, I always saw her studying. And now looking back at it, I always thought it was normal. Like, oh, what's she trying to do? Oh, she's always trying to study. But she never gave up. She never gave up trying to pass that test. And she passed that test. And a year later, she passed away from cancer. But that now looking at that part of her never giving up, I kind of get it now, where I got that side from, of like never giving up on something. So now I feel like it's my duty to always tell my kids never give up, because my parents never told me that. But now I get older, I see, like what made me me. And I get it now. It was my parents. They never tried. My dad, zero emotion. To this day, zero emotion. Growing up, he was gone 8-9 months out of the year. He was gone. He was in the ocean. Then when he got back, he still wasn't home. Why? Because he was drinking with his buddies, because all of his, people were Polish. All his friends were Polish. Similar mindset stories of hardship. So, of course, when they're not working, they have to drink to kind of say, we made it. Never abusive, nothing like that. My dad was never abusive. He's not even the guy that ever disciplined us, because he just didn't even know how. He was just work. His purpose was provide work and make sure you guys do something with this opportunity. He always told us, like, do something with this opportunity. So growing up, my whole thing was I had to make sure I got attention by maybe not making sure he's not disappointed. So I think that's what wired me to always wonder, like, why did I always want to not disappoint my parents? I don't know. They never told me, like, don't do this because we're going to punish you. Don't do this, you're going to get grounded. They never did any of that. But growing up, I was almost a 4.0 student. Like, I was always trying to be number one in everything. I don't know why. It wasn't that they're telling me to. It's just almost like now I had time to reflect on this. I think it's because I wanted attention. The only way I could get attention is by doing really good. So if I said, hey, I got a 4.0, there's my way to get attention from my dad, my father, because he's like, all of a sudden now he can be like, oh, Martin, good job.
Did he ever say that?
He did. But not really, honestly. Actually, tell you the truth, not much. Sometimes. Usually a couple of drinks in him. It was like a hug, but rarely. Sober, rarely. But I know it's in him. He just doesn't know how to express it. But I never hold it against him, because, there's 3 of us. There's 5 kids total that he had. So I have a brother. He's 4 years younger. I have a sister. I can't even do the math now, but she's 25, 24 now. So she's about 12 years, Well, I can't do the math, but she's younger than me. And then I have a half brother, half sister. And all the siblings are successful in their own ways. Everybody's really following their passion.
You're the oldest of the whole line.
Of the 3. I'm the oldest of the 3.
Oh, the 3.
So my dad was previously married.
I see.
So he had 2 other kids.
I see. Okay.
But there's 5 of us total, but really 3 immediate brother and sister, us 3.
With same mom.
Correct. Same mom, us 3.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Of your siblings, do you connect well with them? Are you close to them, of any of the siblings?
All of them.
All of them.
I mean, we talk every other day. Maybe now it's like, twice a week because we're so busy, but we all have this great relationship to where we bounce ideas off each other. Sometimes we don't think the same, because me and my brother have like a lot of heart-to-heart conversations of, what's important in life. Success. How do you value success?
Younger brothers, how many years younger?
He's 4 years younger.
4 years younger.
But he has a very different mindset than I do. His thing's very simple. Simple life, right? And it's him, it's like family. What's important is family. And it's okay to just have a good job, but that's it. For me, it's like more. And he always struggles with me of like, what's the definition of more? He thinks there's more money. I'm like, no, it's not even about money. It's about fulfillment. Like for me, I'm still not fulfilled. It's not even about I want to make millions of dollars to have this Lamborghini. It's not even that. It's just the journey. I love the journey. And we always struggle with trying to figure out, our mindsets are a little bit different, but we have a great relationship. Like we can argue and then, 10 seconds later, be okay with it. It's just, we have a good brotherly love connection. And my sister, she's just awesome. I mean, she has whole like future ahead of her. And we always kind of look back like, how did we end up so like not even successful, but like put together as a family? Because we have other families that are kind of all over the place, and we always had a good relationship, and she's following her dreams, and it's just, it's cool to see us.
Was the glue there your mom's influence, that being together as a family, and your dad was gone so much? So how does this family stickiness, how is it so tight with him being gone? And was it your mom's influence that pulled you all together?
Yeah, that's what we try to figure out.
Yeah.
And we truly don't know because she was always working too. I remember like there's times where me and my brother used to go to the hospital. She was a nurse, and we used to sit in the waiting room. Like sit in the waiting room while she's working. I mean, you can't do that anymore now, obviously. But I remember there's one time, I think it was 1994, we had the big earthquake. And I remember this day because I have the worst memory. I remember this day though, because me and my brother are sitting in the waiting room playing Legos. I'm probably like, 94, so I'm like 9, 10 years old. He's like 6 years old, 4 years old. We're in the waiting room, there's an earthquake. And there's the whole building shaking.
And all your Legos fell down. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, and then my mother comes out like, hey, there's an earthquake. I'm like, you can't do that anymore. You can't bring your kids to work at a hospital and just leave them in the lobby. I mean, back then you could do that.
Well, you can, but you'd probably get arrested.
Yeah, but I'm not. So there's times I reflect on, I'm like, how did we really even do this? How did we survive? My grandma helped out a lot. So, we sponsored, my grandma was on and off here, always helping from Poland. So she kind of was like my mother too. I mean, she raised us really, my grandma did. So between my grandma and my mom, they found a way to raise us. Cause like I said, my father was gone. I mean, but it became a way of life. It's, I never held it against him because I loved him to death and I still do. But it was always like, I just accepted it as like the man of no emotion. But I also understood why, because he was doing this for us. So I almost felt like now I got to make sure whatever I do in life, it's with purpose. Like I'm here for a reason. And, and that's what a lot of these podcasts you have, and you bring on these guests that are immigrants, and I feel it. I truly feel what they're saying is what I'm saying, in the same, like it's my duty. Like it literally is my duty to make sure I make the best of this life. Yeah. Because they sacrificed everything to get us here. And it's like, it's my journey to make sure I'm not wasting any minute of it. And I'm not going to be okay with just mediocre success.
That would be wasting, as your dad said, make the most of this opportunity. I'm making this available to you,
For sure.
One of the things, Martin, that I don't think can be taught, somehow it's got to be wired in. It's not something you could take a class on and say, oh, I'm going to do that now. And it is this idea of lack of entitlement. We live in a world where you see entitlement everywhere. Everybody's entitled to this and that. But in the immigrants that I've sat here with, if you want it, it's up to you. There's nobody that's going to give it to you. No one. And so it's that lack of entitlement, number one, and number two, work ethic. That, you look at a very soft culture now that thinks 8 hours of doing something is a full day of work. They just laugh at that. They like, I don't even know how to think in those terms. They get up and they are on it, and they're on it till it's done, and it might be midnight. and I'm not suggesting that balance is necessarily correct, but those two things, work ethic and lack of entitlement, in some sense, have to go into the success equation.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody who felt entitled and didn't know how to apply and get focused that made anything of their life. And it can be in very different forms. It doesn't need to be aggressive looking or obsessive, but those two things, like, it's up to me. And when you really extrapolate that entitlement thing and take it out to deep ocean, that it's up to me means it's up to me. If I'm miserable, that's my fault.
Yeah.
If I'm broke, that's my fault. In other words, the taking responsibility piece,
Yeah.
I see it so consistently in the immigrant culture that I've gotten to know from all parts of the world, but there's a theme there that is so awesome. And I just embrace it, because once you take responsibility for everything, now you can change what happens next. Now you're in control of, if I don't like it, I'm going to change it. If I want that, I'm going to do it. And wow, that very simple door is powerful.
Absolutely.
And you watched it. You saw it right in front of you.
And it's pure, just hard work. That's what I'm realizing too. Anything is achievable. Are you willing to be in the trenches for 20 hours a day?
Right.
Wake up, and then like the drive, like I am less tired now than I ever been in my life with like 5 hours of sleep. Why? Because it's the drive.
Yeah.
The drive gives me more energy than coffee and energy drinks.
Right.
Because this drive of success. And that's where people think I'm crazy, but I almost think you have to be crazy to accomplish crazy things out there. You have to be.
Yeah.
And you have to not give up. And that's even like my 7-year-old now. I'm starting to see my purpose now a little bit more too, is rewiring my kids at such a young age. Because I have a couple of stories, because I'm seeing things that are like, holy crap, from a different perspective now of, at such a young age, we can wire our kids. And I'll give you one quick example of that was mind-boggling to me. You know, I was putting my kid to sleep, and we're just talking about bowling alley, because we'll get into what I'm building. Yeah. And I told him I'm going to build 5. And he says, Dad, that's impossible. You can't build 5? And I said, you know, his name's Liam. I'm like, Liam, what do you mean I can't build? I can build 30. Anything's possible. And just at that age 7, we already limit our possibilities. We limit on what we think we can do.
Absolutely.
Why would he say you can't do that? Because we're wired to think we can't. At such a young age, we're wired to think that's not achievable in school.
Right.
Don't push yourself too much.
Right.
So my goal now is to make sure I wire my kids to say anything is achievable. Yeah. You want to be president, you can be president.
Right.
You can do whatever you want in this world. And sometimes I feel like I would have been accelerated with my success if maybe my parents would have guided me a little bit differently. This is kind of, we're going back to the beginning of, you know, where my parents kind of, how they raised me, very conservative, right? To what I should do. I should do this, get a good job, government, this. But I was an entrepreneur at heart. I had this in me at a young age. I mean, I always played with Legos. That was my thing. Building stuff, selling cars, like flipping things at age, 14 or 15. I was an entrepreneur at heart, but I was guided to limit of what I should be doing. Safe route. Go to college, got a master's degree, all this. We'll get into this more, but that's where I wish I was wired differently at that age to say, go conquer the world. And that's where my kids now, I want to tell them, my son Jaden's here, go conquer the world. Like, do what you want to do. Build that $500 million company. Why not? But it takes having a mentor at a young age and a father figure and a mother figure to say, you can do that. And that's where my goal now is make sure my kids achieve whatever they want. And if they don't want to achieve anything, or they want to do you want to be a police officer? Of course. That's fine too. I'm never going to say you got to do great things to be a good person. No. I mean, there's jobs out there that need to be done. Doesn't mean you have to be an entrepreneur, but just follow your true desire, whatever that is. And sometimes I feel like especially now in schools, we're always kind of taught to go the safe route. And no, there's no safe route. It's whatever you truly want to accomplish, just go after it. Mm-hmm. Another quick story, my kid, this is where I know I'm doing the right thing. I feel it. We're hiking or something, and I he makes this comment that he's tired. And this is my learning point right now. That at that moment I said, Liam, I was like, you don't be tired. You just keep going. Like, people don't get tired. You just keep going. And then he's like, but I can't, Dad. I was like, yes, you can. And anyways, he was hiking and he still did it. And then like a couple weeks later, I said, I'm tired. We're doing something. And I said, I'm tired. He's like, Dad, remember, you can't be tired. You keep going. That's when I was like, the light bulb moment clicked from him. Like,
yeah,
that was a couple weeks ago I said that. He remembered that. And that's what I told him, like heroes out there, like people in war, like police officers, the ones that don't give up in a situation, the heroes, the ones that like, have the grit and like they get shot 10 times, they still go out because why? Because that's that mindset. You're wired to say, no, I'm not tired. You just keep going.
Right.
But that was a learning point for me when like my kid remembered that. Yeah. That's where my goal now is every time I see opportunity to correct them, to rewire them at age like 5 and 7, that's when I'm like, that's my goal now is outside of everything I'm trying to do, just make sure I'm wiring them correctly. Yeah. Because if they know what I know now, by the time they're 20, oh man, it's going to be game over. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be game over for them. I don't know where they're going to be. If that means they're just police officers, that's still cool. But that's where I want to get at now is just like wiring my kids to, man, just do it,
I that appreciation for that role, that awareness around that role as a parent, I think is amazing. I think too, tell me if I'm wrong, that saying things is certainly a part of how you mold, but I would say that they watch how you are. They have an eye on you when you don't know they're watching, and they see how you do things. They see the drive. They see that you don't quit. They see that you're always on task. Those examples, because my dad, I'm going back, my dad said 12 words all year. He didn't really, he's like, he just didn't say much. He didn't have to say much. Mm-hmm. If he wanted to tell you something, he'd just look at you a certain way and you knew what he was thinking. But as an example, just watch what he did. And then that's the way he wants you to do it. And so much of that is what really formed me. A few things you've had, taking ownership of your hard drive as an adult is step one, I think, to many people launching into their greatness. You look at that hard wiring, you ratify and embrace what really now as an adult you look at and go, man, that is awesome. And that I was taught right. I agree with that. I ratify it. But there are certain things that you look at your hardwiring and you go, man, I gotta do some remodeling here.
Yeah.
I'm going to take ownership of this, that, okay, they did their best. I know why they tried to do this, but I'm going to remodel it a bit because this is what I believe. Some things you got to replace. You got to rip it out and start over and go, no, I don't think that. I'm going to think a different way. All depends on what those influences are. But for a parent to be aware that you are the influence, you are the one that they're watching, it's a huge responsibility to be a parent. And yet, you have to sign up and wait 3 days to, get approved to get a gun. And
right.
And you don't have to do shit to become a parent.
Yeah.
You're right. You're qualified because here's you now have a kid. There are a lot of kids that one parent raises them. They don't have two influences of a dad and a mom. There are kids born every day that the parents really never really thought they'd wanted to do this, and they really don't do a good job. To have a mom and a dad that are attentive and caring. Wow, that kid's won the lottery right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then from there, we take ownership of our own hardwiring. This hardwiring has led to an interesting life and path. You've mentioned, of course, you're a father. You mentioned you went to school. What was your first interests? Like when you decided, okay, I'm going to go to school out of high school. We all kind of had to go to high school, but from there, did you pursue obligation or what I thought I should do, or did you pursue what you really were drawn to?
This is a good question, because even at work sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I doing here? Where am I at? I'm 40 years old. I'm still trying to figure out my life.
Right.
But going back when I was in high school, I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something cool. I remember that. I wanted to do something cool. So at that time I was like, law enforcement, because that's cool. You know, that's cool. I wanted to do something cool. But I was lost because I always wanted to make money. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So it was confusion. I was always confused because, you don't know what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You truly don't. When you're in high school, you kind of think you want to know.
Yeah. Some do.
Yeah, some do.
But you didn't.
I truly didn't. I truly didn't. And, so my career kind of where I'm at now, how I got there, I get to it. It was kind of like always trying to figure it out. But I knew I wanted to do something. And I remember I did a FBI thing. My senior project was on to be an FBI agent. So at that time, I was like, well, I think I need to go into law enforcement, But then I started working. My mom was a nurse at Western State Hospital, which is a psychiatric place. Mm-hmm. So she got me the first job. I was there. I was 18 years old. I got a job there. And that kind of exposed me to the world of law enforcement with corrections, And it kind of formed me in a way, because now looking back at it, I kind of understand how this all tied into real estate, even negotiation, talking to people. I had to fight for my life with negotiation of talking. I was getting assaulted every day, literally at Western State. I was 18 years old, my first job ever. I looked like a kid, and I remember arriving there, and I was basically in a nut house, literally. And it was the worst of the worst. And I don't know anything about anything. And here I am hey, show up and okay, good luck out there. And you have 50, patients walking around and they're crazy. And half the time they're trying to get you. So that kind of taught me to survival of talking in situations to not get assaulted, So
baptism by fire right there.
So then I was like, okay, well, I was already in that field. So I felt I should probably just go in law enforcement. But then I was always still stuck in this whole entrepreneur world. I wanted a coffee shop. I always had a desire to run a coffee shop. I remember this story. 18 years old, I found one for sale. I went to the bank for my mom, and I was like, Mom, it's $20,000. This is 2003, 2004. And I'm like, we need to buy this. Just trust me. I went to the bank with her, and the bank kind of laughed at me, where's your business proposal? What are you going to do? And I was I don't know. This is a good idea. So then I went to my dad, and he's like, I'm not giving you $20,000 of business. What is your business? Go to school. You're not doing business. So then that already right there kind of shifted me, saying I wanted to be a business owner, but also I'm already kind of making good money in law, corrections / Western State. I was like, maybe I should just stay on that track. I was going to change my degree to business, and then I went to criminal justice. I was always confused. I was torn in that area of, business and law enforcement, and then the next progression was well, fine, maybe I just need to make more money hourly. So I started looking for more jobs in law enforcement. So as soon as I was 21, I got a job working for the prison system. I was a guard, and, I was 21. I was the youngest one you have to be 21 to get hired there. So I was the youngest one in the academy. So everybody oh man, you're so ahead of the game because you're the youngest guy here, making good money. Mm-hmm. So then right away, and that same time is when I had my kid, right? I was 20 years old, and I'll get to the story of meeting my wife and all that, because she's part of all this. She has to be part of this whole journey, because without her, I wouldn't be at where I'm at without her. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I was 20 years old, and then I had a kid. So all of a sudden the desire to venture into maybe entrepreneurship kind of changed, because now it's kind of survival. I got to provide. I got to have a job that has good health care. So I kind of took a break. I took a break away from that whole entrepreneur inside me of like a business owner. Then I went more into, well, fine, I'm just going to focus on getting a good job then, education. And, that's when I kind of went to school. So the whole time I was working full time, prison guard, had our first kid, I was, going to school full time. So just the whole struggle was always work, school, kid, work, school, kid. Did that for, 3-4 years. 24, that's when I first got my next adventure. Was like, okay, I got to get a better paying job. I got to apply. So I went to a different agency. Just so we can kind of get more into my agencies, but I became a federal air marshal. So I was the youngest one in the academy. I was 24 years old, got into federal air marshal service. And most everybody in my academy was in their 30s, prior, military, law enforcement. I was kind of like the youngest guy. So everybody's like, oh man, you're so ahead of the game. Like you're just, you're the youngest guy in the office, youngest one in the academy. So I always felt like I was ahead of the game. But, I was always lost though. Like deep down, I was like, God, I don't know. This is like it, but I'm not feeling it. Like I always thought like my drive, I was lost in the career world of where I was at, thinking that like, I'm in the right spot, but I wasn't. But also then it was like, I was kind of trapped because I'm like, well, I can't just quit. I have a family to provide now. I got bills. And so I was always trying to find success in my careers by thinking like the next job, the next promotion.
Right.
This is where kind of all ties into real estate too. And I know we're kind of going off script. I'm probably going all over the place.
So there is no script. We've got a general flow of where we're going. But I'm putting some pieces together here really interesting because, you saw this same kind of dichotomy in your dad of, okay, I'm working, I'm gone, I'm working,
Yes.
I'm providing, but the tentacles of entrepreneurship and who he was kind of in the shadow of that. And now here you are feeling the same pressures of sort that you're gonna provide. That's number one.
Yeah.
And you got to do it. And okay, this is kind of what I've gotten to know, and it's a route that seems like somebody's paying me to do it, so I might as well do it as well as I can do it. The only way to get more pay out of this is to advance.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. And yet there's a conflict of, but what about my coffee shop? I've put it on the shelf. I've
never went away.
Right. It's just like, God, this isn't it, but it's it. And confusion,
Yep.
as we love the quote right out of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, confusion has its cost. It's like a sliver. At a certain point, it's going to find its way to a different place where you got to deal with it. You can't be in confusion forever.
Yeah.
And so, but you can feel it. It's like I can feel this evolution of something more coming. And yet, fast forward, you're still now juggling. You're juggling a full-time entrepreneurial life and a job that if you let go now, you'll lose future benefits.
It's the principle now. Like I got to finish what I started. It's a
Right.
20-year career, and I'm
Right.
1 year away from it.
Right.
So now I'm like, I gotta do it.
Right.
The closer I got towards the end, the more aggressive I got with entrepreneurship because I knew like to leave, I got to do this.
Right.
So I took at the same time everything at once, and that's where it's like, explosion
Right.
happening. But
Right.
but it's the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
And throughout the years of my career, I was always chasing new jobs, maybe new interviews. I can't tell you how many interviews I had with other federal agencies. So I was always thinking, if I go there, that's going to be it. And, my wife always was through all of this. She's like, another job interview. And I usually aced all of them. Then I was like, I don't know. But I was just became the master of like job interviews. I mean, I literally did to the point where like, I can get that job. I'll tell you right now. I figure
When
it out.
the interviewer isn't asking the right question, go, hey, let me help you with this because I'm really good at this. You should be asking me this right now.
Yes. But it also became like, it all tied into real estate too. That's what I'm understanding. Communication and like getting to know somebody, the rapport, the connection of like, now you're going to get that job because you started talking to somebody, something completely different outside of the job. And that connection, now they feel you as a person. the agency, knowing the mission, talking about random things within the agency. And that's where I kind of learned negotiation, and the more I started doing the real estate, I'm like, holy crap, my whole career, the last 20 years has prepped me for real estate, owner financing, these deals. It's all worked together. So now I look back at it, I'm like, is there a regret? Maybe, but is there? Maybe not, because maybe the last 20 years got me to this point I'm at now. Because without that, maybe this would have never happened.
Maybe without those hallways of Western State where you're having to talk your way out of getting assaulted.
Exactly.
Maybe that was your trade school.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think that there are those dots connect to me.
I think they do.
Because you've gotten good on your feet. You've gotten good to know how to read a situation and what to do. And awareness is a very, very difficult thing to teach, but it was your trade school.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I'm almost like, it's all interworked. Even though it's a completely different field, it's the same field. Yeah. It's interacting with people. It's trying to come up with solutions. Yeah. It's coming up with a deal. It's trying not to get assaulted. It's trying to solve somebody's problem. Trying to, the person that's resisting, tell them to calm down. Finding what's somebody's problem. Then it's in real estate. It's all about problems. People have problems. They got to sell assets for a reason. And that's where you start understanding that you're just fixing problems.
Right.
And in the world of like owner financing, which I know you talk about a lot, creative financing, I'm like, man, that's right up my alley, because I don't go after deals that are easy. I don't even want that. It's, for me, it's not even about the money. It's about the process, the journey, and the excitement of trying to accomplish something that's so hard that nobody wants to touch. Right. Because it's just like, there's so many unknowns. Like, I want the unknowns. I don't want to just build a building that has 40 units, 100 units, apartments, make a lot of money and call it good. I don't want that. Because for me, it's the excitement of creating something that requires me to have like a blank canvas of creativity and solve somebody's problem, buy assets that are depleted, that the city doesn't know what to deal with, that the health department wants to shut down. Like, I want that. Why? Because nobody wants it. And it just makes the most money when it's completed.
Too difficult. It's like the person that nobody can find. When somebody's gone missing and they own a property, I get excited.
Yes.
Because most people spend 5 minutes on it and give up.
Yes.
I'll turn it into my mission.
Right.
To find them.
10 years later, I don't
catch
care.
A flight and go knock on the door where they're hiding and say, hey, here's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I think that drive again, I have to segue. I talked with a great friend and power player a couple of days ago who lives in an amazing home. And way back in the day when we were coaching together, he discovered this home. And this home had every issue known to man in terms of what was going on. It was in the middle of foreclosure. It was in the middle of a bankruptcy. It was in the middle of a divorce. It had more messes going on that one would trump the other, and you'd think you'd solve it, and then, but they can't do that because the divorce, this and that. And, oh my God, it was a drama. And I remember saying, this is absolutely right up your alley because your gift is persistence. You're the only one that's not going to give up on this thing. You're going to know this tangled knot better than anybody. Yeah. And you're going to land this thing. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. And not only did he get it in the final closing papers, the final go in and it's now his, got all the papers signed. He's reading the legal description and he's like, what is this? Yeah. And it actually the whole mess came with a 5-acre piece right next door that nobody even knew was with it. And it literally at the closing table, he discovered he got this 5 acres as well at the same price. And it was like a reward. Yep. I said, Gary, that was your reward for just not giving up. You're the last one standing. You figured it out.
This is the man up top. The man up top saying, hey, you earned this.
You did. That's it. It's exactly right. And I think that sometimes there's real, when you're there and you've unwound something and figured it out that no one took the time, tools, patience. They just didn't have the drive to stay with it. When you're there at closing, when something like that happens, there's no better feel. Like you landed this thing.
Exactly.
And I've put up some signs in the past to say, I just can't wait. Now, when everybody drives by here, they're going to go, oh my God, how did he buy that? You know, and you just wait for the phone to ring, you know, and I don't know.
That's exactly what that's what I want. That feeling of like, that guy was crazy. Oh my God, that was a demo. No, it wasn't. I saved this building. Saved it.
That's right.
And that's what I love. There's so much history in old buildings. And the more I do this, I also understand we're just repeating somebody else's journey.
Right.
Somebody else in the 50s, 60s had this vision.
Right.
They built this building. They sacrificed so much.
Yeah.
Then it went away. Right. And you're just bringing it back. That's why I truly love old. I don't want a new construction. I mean, I know there's a place for it.
Yeah.
But right now where I'm at, I love acquiring things that are taking somebody else's journey, their vision, and bring it back to life. And people that have that usually love that because you're saving maybe their dad's journey, their struggle.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. So maybe some of the kids don't want to inherit, or they're inherit a problem and they don't want to deal with it.
Right.
But that's where there's so many assets out there that are just waiting to be acquired and brought back to life.
Yeah.
And still have that feeling of some of the old, history behind it. So you're not completely tearing it down. You still want to value some of it. And that's where the whole owner financing piece comes to place, because you're selling your dream, but you're making sure their dream stays alive. Absolutely. And that's where you get some of these assets that I'm getting. There's even other ones that I'm closing on soon. And I'm excited because there's so many out there. Yeah. I'm just getting started. Because I could talk about this all day. I said we're gonna need more than 2 hours because I'm telling you, like I'm onto something where I was hoping to be in the seat in like 2 years because there's still so much I want to accomplish. So when I'm here, I'm like, I haven't earned this yet.
We'll have a round two. 2 years from now, and
telling you,
I mean, that you've seen lots of podcasts where they have someone on 4 or 5 times, because everybody gets involved with it. Where's this going? You can feel the momentum. One thing you said, I want you to elaborate a little more on this. That you said that I'm paraphrasing as best I can. That you inherit a continuation of a story. It was somebody's vision before. It was their story, their blood, their sweat. They got it so far, either close to completion or they completed it and then it fell off the table. It started deteriorating. It's bringing back to life that was a story before. The story's not going to end here.
Correct.
The story is going to end with a whole different ending now. Yeah. And what a beautiful way of looking at it. It's like, without me, this is going to have a period in it, and that's how the story begins. But with me, watch this. This story is going to have a whole new chapter.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful
because
it's story. It's philosophy.
Yes.
It's not hardcore NOI cap rate valuation. There's more to it than that. It's way more to it than that. And I think that is just incredible.
And this is where my brother struggles sometimes. Like, because you just want more money. I'm like, no, like you don't even understand. Like half the time, like I'm giving them numbers because they want that. The bank wants NOIs, cap rates. They want all that, but I'm just following my gut. Like I have to make money in the process to survive, obviously.
Sure.
But a lot of times I look at the end product of what I want, the vision, and then the money usually comes with it. Right?
Yes.
But I'm not analyzing things like, if I do this, I'm gonna make this much money. A lot of times I have to because that's what the banks want, the underwriters want. But I didn't even think about that. I just think about truly the whole motto, build it, they will come. I mean, my wife always makes fun because I say that, but it's true. You build something out there that's so spectacular, like people will come, And a lot of these assets, like for example, one of the hotels that we got, I mean, there's carvings and the old concrete from like 4 names they used to have in 1966. And you see that, and everybody else is looking the other way. But I see that concrete right there, and I see that whale that had the 1966 thing, because at one point it was like 4 names ago. And then I'm like, this was somebody's vision. Somebody had this goal in 1960s, and then it changed hands several times. And every time it changed hands, it fell apart because the previous owner didn't go in for that reason. They went in there to make money, and then they cash flowed, and then they just, slumlord it, whatever.
Right.
And then it lost the touch.
Lost the soul, too.
Yes, but then you bring it back, and then you have the original people that are like the family of that original person that owned it, the kids. They're bringing back pictures now. They're stopping by. And that's the feeling of like, I'm on the right track because I'm bringing back things that at one point people remember it. Like they have stories to share. They stop by. That's where I'm like, this is cool. This is beyond making money. This is beyond real estate. This is like life. Like you're bringing back a life to, and they're out there everywhere. I mean, I just found one community, but they're everywhere.
Talk about where you're doing this right now. I mean, and let's incorporate like, where did the real estate bug get going? And of course, we're talking about this small community around Westport.
Yeah.
But where did the real estate journey? Where did you go? I got to start doing this as well as my W-2 job. That's great. I'm doing fine there. I got to do this. Where did that? What switch went off that says I've got to go scratch this itch?
Yeah. Well, let's break it down to the very beginning.
Yeah.
So we got a new job, moved back home to Washington State. We made some money off the house that we sold in California. Mm-hmm. So back then I still was not an investor. So I wasn't thinking about investing. We had about $120,000, right? I went on Craigslist and I found a deal. It was like an off-market, gram lot. And at that time, I wasn't even thinking like an investor. I was thinking like, we're moving back home. This is where I got the new job for a different federal agency. And I was like, okay, maybe now we'll build our dream house. So I bought this piece of land and, the goal to build our house on it. Paid cash for it, owner financing kind of deal. And at that time, I had to move to Oregon. And I was working in Oregon Monday to Friday, living in a trailer, believe it or not. I took like $50,000 pay cut. It's the government does crazy things. Took a $50,000 pay cut when I was already making good money to live in a trailer. And at one point, I'm like, what am I doing for my life? I was living in a trailer Monday to Friday, making like $60,000 a year because I took a $70,000 pay cut to go into this new federal agency because I thought like that's what I needed to do. That was my calling. Anyways, this piece of land that we bought had 2 double wides on it. So the goal was originally to remove the double wides and, build our house on it. Well, I was like, we need money. We had no money. So I was like, okay, what if we remove the double wides and we create a little RV park? Next thing you know, what led to one RV park, like one tenant, and that we ended up building 6 pads on it. And that was like my true like light bulb moment at that time. This is 2018, where I built one RV pad, then I built 5 other ones. Next thing you know, we have 6 RV pads fully rented, like $800 a month. And I'm like, light bulb moment. I'm like, this is weird. I wasn't even planning on doing it. It just kind of morphed into a little RV park.
And you add that up and go, that's creating almost what I make at my day job.
It was so weird, and then I was like, okay, real estate, this is kind of where it's at. But then I was still struggling because, my career was just starting there. I was new. So, at that time I was still kind of motivated. I was like, okay. But then, 2019, 2020, COVID happened. So then once again, like my whole career ambitions kind of were put on hold because COVID happened and like it was kind of nobody was really doing anything. So I was, at that time I was commuting to Seattle. I got a transfer back to, Washington. I was commuting in Seattle and it was 2 hours a day, 5 hours a day commuting, just back and forth. It was just taking toll on me. And then I started diving more into now like kind of podcasts, bigger pockets back then, like kind of understanding more real estate since this RV park thing kind of happened. And I was like, man, there has to be more to this whole real estate bug, that I kind of got exposed to. And then I just happened to be scrolling and I found a Facebook, there's a group about like a wholesaler and then there's like a flip, there's a house flip. So then there's a house wholesaler, that was for sale. The house was for sale in Puyallup area. So then I told, my wife, I was like, let's try this whole flipping thing. So, we had no money at that time either. Like it was like $20,000, $30,000. I think I took a credit card loan. I mean, everything I've been doing is backwards. I think I did like, leverage credit card to show that I had money for this, $30,000 down for this wholesaler that they needed. Anyways, I got it done. And we did the renovations of that. This is during COVID. So I was still working full time. During COVID, I was on the weekends, I was going there. And that was like our true, like kind of first flip that we did. Put on the market, made good money. And then I was like, okay, cool, I'm onto something. So that at that time I was like, maybe I'll get into the flipping world. And then, I have to talk about my wife's uncle, Roland Litzenberger, because he's been my mentor for the last 12 years, 10 years in real estate. And he's like you. I mean, it's just weird. You have to meet him one of these days because not only is he like, you guys are the same people. Like he looks like you, he acts like he's been doing real estate for 40 years. Oh, wow. It's creepy. Okay. So when I talk to him and I talk to you, it's like I get two of the best worlds. Like basically I get to hang out with you guys at the same time. It's weird. But one of these days you will have to meet him. Okay. Because he's been my mentor the last 15 years.
Roland, if you're listening, give me a call.
He doesn't even have social media, so he's probably not listening. Somebody's gonna have to send this to him. But he's an awesome guy, and he is tremendously helped me through this journey of trying to figure myself out. And then he's kind of guided me in real estate. He's the one, this all kind of leads into Westport, by the way. That's kind of why I brought him up. Because out of nowhere, he's the one that I told him about this flip. He's like, yeah, try it out. Why not? If the numbers make sense, just be careful. Because he went through the recession, so he's very conservative. Like, be careful. Like, just remember, you can lose everything on this flip. I'm like, but we didn't. So out of nowhere, he sends me this deal in Westport. I've never even heard of Westport. I've never been there. My wife's been there. I've never been there before. So he sends me this deal, and he sent him because it had like RV park, had a 13-unit RV park that was tied next to the hotel. So at that time, he knew I had that little 6-unit RV park in Graham, and I kind of told him the desire, like, hey, this is kind of cool. I kind of like this whole RV park world. So he sent me this deal, and we go look at it, and then it was what caught me, off guard is just when we showed up to the community. I'm like, this is awesome because my father was in Alaska for 35 years, so I was kind of exposed to the world of like marinas, boats, and then I went to this little town and like we got lunch and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's like nothing but boats. It's like a little fisherman's town. So I was like, man, like I right away fell in love with Westport because of like the vibe. I'm like, it's almost like I was around this my whole life, dropping off my father at the ports and waving goodbye, seeing him in 8 months, picking up from the ports, and that little community almost felt like the ocean, the smell, the seagulls. Like, I'm like, man, this is more than the real estate outside of just that little piece of land we looked at.
Love being
I'm
there.
like, crap, like I love this town. Like something about it, like I felt like this is my place. Yeah. Going back to the hotel now, it was right on the marina, like on the bay where it has a beautiful ocean view. And I'm like, this is so cool. But then we looked inside the units and it was horrible. I'm deteriorating. I'm to the point where it was not even an asset that anybody wanted to buy. It was on the market for 2 years. It wasn't like something that like magically showed up, first one's there. No. I mean, people said this is a teardown. Like literally the design of it, the roof was caved in. Like the roof in the 1960s architecture, it was slanted in. So most roofs are slanted out where the water, this is the water inverted in. Right. The water literally was by design meant to go inside, and then they had pipes inside rooms that were draining the water. Imagine that. Built in the 1960s, but it had water going inside the room. So every single room behind the walls was rot. I'm talking about not even like a little, I can't even explain it, how bad this motel was. It was not even a motel. It was not even Section 8. It was a slumlord. I mean, it was to the point where...
Were anybody living in it?
It was fully occupied. Oh, geez. Like 21 rooms, fully occupied. Some of them had like 4 people living in them, drug infested. If I could even explain the amount of like... I can't even explain it. You're talking some of the tenants and they had, no exaggeration, bed bugs on them, crawling as you're talking to them.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was disgusting. And then somehow I'm like, we're buying this. It was just a crazy thought. I'm like, yeah, we're going to buy it. Because I just saw the RV park. I saw the potential. I saw the view. And I'm like, I'll figure everything out. And that's kind of where we pitched our first owner financing structure, because it was on the market. He didn't want to do owner financing. And at that point I told him, what if I do a large down payment? That's kind of where I got exposed to the whole world of owner financing. And, we sold that Puyallup flip. So I think we made, 70, 80,000, typical like flip when you sell. And that's when I went all in. I cashed out my 401k, cashed out my 401k and came up with the 200,000 down to buy this motel. So we bought it. And then it was like, okay, now what? I had no money. Like, I bought an asset and I have no money to do anything now. So
you own it.
I'm like, I don't even know what we're going to do. And to this day, I don't know how we did it. I truly don't know how we got it up and running. I mean, I kind of know how, but it took 3 years because it was kind of like, make some money here. Okay, do this. Take this loan now. Okay, leverage this. And, it was a lot of sweat equity. I mean, it was pure sweat equity, like Roland,
Where are you living when you're working on this?
We live in Eatonville, which is 2 hours away.
2 hours away.
So,
okay, so a normal weekend, you're up early and heading to this building to work on it?
Every single living moment for the last 8 years, since 2019, 2020, has been working 2 jobs. Every single day off, every weekend, it's just been sweat equity. I'm getting a little bit better now, saying, hey, okay, maybe I can't do everything, hire people out, hire this, but I learned how to do everything. I learned how to be a plumber. I learned how to be an electrician. I'm a framer now. I had zero knowledge of this. The last 6 years, I literally learned how to do every trade out there.
Yeah.
Because I had to.
Right.
I know now more than I know. There's money out there. You don't have to. At that time, it was a mindset of like, I'm broke. I got to do it. Now I'm understanding the world of like leverage a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But if you have the deal, you can find the money. There's investors out there. I'm starting to understand that I don't have to do it all. But it took a lot of work to understand that.
Do you have any kind of accounting of how many dollars you've put into this asset since you closed it?
I mean, I know what it's worth now.
Do you have any idea of how much you've put into it in terms of establishing a basis of all the improvements you've done, et cetera?
Yeah, definitely. But it's still very skewed. Yeah. I mean, it's very low, it's a lot higher, but a lot of it's because of my sweat equity. A lot of it's my time that I put in. My uncle, I remember, he's a busy guy. He's building a lot of projects, but he knew I was trying to do this. And he used to come on. I mean, we had a trailer there. We're still living in a trailer sometimes. And he used to come after working all these, on his projects. He used to come help me. So on the weekends, we're working, 32 hours in 2 days doing all the framing, hiring kind of not the best people to help us out with the roofers. Cause, construction bids were like $50,000. Like, I don't have $50,000 for his roof. Got a guy out there for like $5,000. Shady people. They got it done though. They're a 35-year roofer, but he's kind of on the edge of like,
you're used to negotiating with people that might want to kill you.
That's all it was, negotiation. This is in the beginning. Now it's a little bit different. Now, obviously, everything's professional. I have to hire people that have, legit businesses. I have contracts. I lenient waiver sign. Back then, there was none of that. Like, you have a license, I don't want you. Like, you have a license? No, you're not here.
How hungry are you?
Yeah. Do you have a criminal record? Okay, now you can come. So, over the years, obviously, I had to do what I had to do in the beginning to make ends meet, to make
How many units are in this? You call it a motel, hotel. I'm not sure what you call it.
So South Bay Inn. That's
South Bay Inn.
Yeah, that's the name now. It used to be Cranberry Motel. We used to call it Crackberry Motel when we bought it. Uh-huh. That's what everybody called it. In town, it was called Crackberry Motel because it was drug infested. It was just drugs. The city didn't know what to do. The police department didn't know what to do with it. They just kind of let it. It's no man's land. Like, that was that one area where just all the problems went there and they stayed there. That was that property that I bought. It was just a property that everybody knew. That was like, that's the place that the homeless people hang out.
Yeah.
And I bought it. I don't know why, but I bought it. But so yeah, that's South Bay Inn. That's 21 units and has 13-unit RV park right next to it. Beautiful now. It's,
does it have a website now?
Has a website, has everything.
Wow. I asked that because I know people will want to look at like the after of the effort, but I don't know that anybody could appreciate the picture you've just painted of what you walked into and why you did it. But at the end of the day, you saw the vision. The real estate that it's sitting on
correct
was a driver. Look at the view. Look at where it's at. Oh my God. I mean, I can see the motivation. I would also want to circle back and say that your credentials of having dealt with so many difficult people
It helped.
is almost like, forget learning how to frame, you better have this skill intact or you're going to be taken out of this game before it even began. Your ability to know how to deal with difficult addicts, et cetera, is almost a credential that allowed you to be successful with this. You knew that game.
No, you're right. That's what I'm saying. All inner works.
Right.
Because we bought this during COVID. The first day we arrived there, everybody's cussing at us. It's me, my wife, and my 2 kids. We're just walking around. They're like, F you can't evict us. Emily says you can't. Completely like, how are we going to do this? Like, as soon as we pulled up, but then they got to know us. They saw me. They saw my family, my kids, and they're like, Martin's not a bad guy. Because I was helping them. I mean, we helped them. We relocated a lot of these people. We gave them money. We helped them move. Like, we were negotiating with them. It wasn't like, hey, get out of here. No, we are reasonable people. And I told them, like, listen, this place is not for you guys. Look at it. It's so unsafe. You don't even have running water, some of the units. I mean, it was beyond repairable. It was beyond like livable conditions. You might as well just live under a bridge. That's all that really was. It was just lights.
Yeah.
There's nothing there, no hot water. But people live there and they're paying like $300 a month, $400 a month because they're homeless. And unfortunately, this guy was a slumlord.
Yeah.
He didn't care because he lived in there with nothing too. There was like a manager quarters there. We went in there and I'm like, I don't even know how somebody could live in there. There was nothing there. He had like a rice cooker and that's it. He didn't have a TV in there. And he lived there for like 20 years like that. Yeah, it's
hard to even get your head around how that can be, but there it is.
There it is.
Yeah. This stage being set of, okay, you own this. You're dealing with a lot of challenged people that are there. They have no means. They're living in unsafe and unhealthy conditions. You've got to somehow take it from there to a empty building, gut it completely, reframe most of it, and start over. Take me back to when you closed it. You went all in with all of the dollars. So now all of this work on a 22 unit, how many overall square feet is this whole building?
It's about 7,000
7,000 feet. So, anybody doing any kind of math going, well, a full gut job, if you do a lot of the work yourself, you're going to be in it $700,000. Yeah. There's just no way around that. Or double that. You know what I mean? So, but you're doing it as you figure out how to get it. And to me, that goes to the right brain skill set of negotiation, and then this innate quality of drive. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find the money. I'm going to keep going. I've got 4 studs and some nails. I got enough to keep going for the next hour. That persistence piece, Martin, is off the chart. And in every podcast, it's like, well, what's the word? What's the word? This quality of persistence and tenacity, it's a rare quality. There's so many avenues where a logical person would just go, okay, what have I done here? Okay, I've made a mistake. Stop. But you kept going. And now it's done, and it's got a website, and it's performing. And this leads to another, that leads to another.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward to a project, because I want to spend some time on the project going on right now, which was a bowling alley left for dead.
We'll get there, but really quick about the first one.
Yes.
So how I finished it is in the middle of the construction of that first hotel, there's a hotel next door. And as we're swinging a hammer, I was looking at my uncle. I call him my uncle. He's, my wife's uncle. And I was like, I got to buy that one. And this is in the middle of me renovating this one with zero money. And he's like, well, let's go right now. What are we waiting for? Let's go talk to her. I go and talk to her. And I love her to death. She's like family now. Her name's Rhonda. And she owned that hotel for 35 years, the one right next door. And then I was like, I want to buy your building. And at first she's like, this is not for sale. She's very kind of like, once I got to know her, I got to hook.
Yeah.
And she saw my drive. For the next like 2 months, we're kind of like stopping by, talking. And finally she's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to sell it to you, Martin. I believe in you. So in the middle of this first project of my renovations of the hotel, I decided to buy this one with no money either. I didn't even have money to finish this one. But I had a strategy. My strategy was, I can get this one done a lot faster. That one was a lipstick. That one was a $60,000 remodel versus this one was a $800,000 remodel. So I took a break for that one for 1 year. I took a pause on the first hotel and I worked on the other one. Got that one up and running in 4 months. I think we bought it like February. By June, we're open. We remodeled that thing in 3 months and got that one up and running. And then that was my seed money. All of a sudden now, I made some money that summer being open.
Yeah.
Boom, there it is. Did a cash out refi. Boom, there it is. And all of a sudden I had some more money to finish the other one. So then that was that piece. Next thing you know, I got to know the owner and she saw my drive. She became my lender. She helped me out. Mm-hmm. She had the money that I paid her off from buying this and I sold it to her. Listen, like, help me out. Help me get to the finish line. She became my lender to finish the other hotel. So they all worked together. Yeah. Next thing you know, we sold the RV park. We sold that one that we initially started at 16 RV park.
In Graham.
Mm-hmm. That was that money to help finish that other hotel. So all kind of worked together, got us to the finish line to get these 2 hotels. But it was that relationship. And, Rhonda, we named it Silver Sands Motel. She bought that when she was in her, 30s with her husband. And she always says, I see my husband in you. Her husband passed away, like about 10 years ago. And she's been trying to run this hotel by herself. She's running this hotel by herself for the last 10 years. And she was just tired. She was tired. She was in her 70s. She's like, I can't do this anymore. But that vision, once again, is bringing back something to life that needed help, needed work. And she sold it to us. She could have sold it for a lot more money. Mm-hmm. She sold it next to nothing. I mean, she still made money, but definitely sold it to, at a good price because she saw it was more than just making money. It was about the journey, about making sure this asset carries on her legacy. We kept the same name. Right. All the guests always say, hey, she's there all the time. She's like one of our good friends now. She's like a mother / grandma figure to us. It's more than just real estate. It's just a community, and it's about her life still goes on. 35 years of running that hotel for her husband. She's still part of that now. Right. She stops by. Her guests still stay there. Right. And that's the connection about these assets. It's not the owner financing piece of it is like you're pitching it and you just leave it there. Mm-hmm. Like you don't come in aggressive. Mm-hmm. You don't want to make it look like you're just in it for the money. Mm-hmm. Like it's a journey. And that's once you get that hook and you just sit it there for a little bit and they see you on the outside. Yeah. That's why this whole marketing kind of plays into play too, because they got to understand you without really knowing you. Mm-hmm. Once they see your journey, they want to help you. Like they want to help you. Everybody wants to help each other if it's for the right reason. And that's where she became my lender. Really, I never would have thought.
Profound. I want to underscore something you said, but I want to make sure people get this takeaway. Here you are with this project that is extensive, and where's the money? Well, where's the money going to come from to finish this thing? You've committed to it. Oh my God, here we go. The answer was sitting right next to you.
Yeah.
And what you had to do to get the money you needed was to buy the next. When you feel the most broke you ever feel, how do we solve this? We buy. Yeah. We buy something that becomes the solution, not only in the cash flow of what we just bought, but in the relationship that became a lender that solved this one. We never anticipate that we tend to look at a situation statically. Here's my situation. Can I or can't I? And I don't have enough money to do this. I'm out. Mm-hmm. You're not out. You're not out. You just have to start thinking differently. Correct. And counterintuitively. Correct. That the answer isn't, I got to sell something. That may be part of the answer. But the real solution came in the buying in the middle of that. Correct. And I want to just underscore that counterintuitive wisdom that here's Waldo right here next door. There's the answer. There's the solution. And somehow you knew you had to go buy that.
I knew it.
It was like an instinct.
Yeah.
There's an answer here.
Just staring at me. Every time I'm working for 12 hours, it's just looking at me. Like, here, help me.
Right.
Help me. I'll solve your problem. I mean, it was just right there.
There's the answer.
And then it was a pitch, and then it was like...
The answer is usually right in front of you.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome experience to like get that one up and running. And this is the first time in hospitality. Yeah. And by the way, this is the same time we have a kid. So through all this, through this last journey of these hotels, I had 2 other kids in the mix that I added in.
Sure.
It was not planned. Nothing's ever planned like that.
No.
You know.
Now you're having a party.
So I remember. This is a funny story. I gotta say this story because this is a story that I'll always remember. So all of a sudden, we bought this new hotel, Silver Sands Motel. Same thing, gutted it. I have 3 months of leave because FMLA, 3 months of leave to stay at home with the family. Which, in all fairness, I did stay at home with the family. They were with me inside the hotel room. So there's 3 kids, me and my wife. We're in the vacant old hotel room, gutted it to where it's just bare floor, nothing in the rooms. I mean, there's bare floors, not even carpet anymore. We're renovating it. This is a funny story. So,
does
in the middle of the
Stevie
night,
think this is a funny story?
Oh yeah, this is a gross story, but I gotta say it. Middle of the night, my kid decides to eat a protein bar, a 30-gram protein bar. This is a 5-year-old kid, 30-gram protein bar. You can't eat that much protein when you're 4 years old. We wake up in the middle of the night. We're like, what is that smell? Everywhere.
Oh, no.
Shit everywhere. Our 4-year... I'm talking about not just shit, like everywhere.
Everywhere. And raw floors.
Yeah, it's just... We're like getting up and we're all just horrible smell. And we're just like... It's just those stories of like 3 kids in the room and just the whole back just full. I think he had diapers still. He was in a diaper. And it's just everywhere. And I'm like, what is happening? But they're part of the journey. I mean, one of our kids was just born. I mean, he was literally 3 months old. Yeah. I mean, he was just born, and we're renovating hotels with kids in the room with us, and that's what it takes, though.
Blanket over a bun bucket. Hey, he's good. He's warm enough. We're good.
Yeah, we just put him in the shower and
put some earmuffs on him so that the jackhammers don't get to him. Yeah.
But that's what I mean about true grit and hard work. Yes, there's easy way to do it, but I might be doing everything the hard way, but that's how I want to do it.
But in the process, you're learning. You've learned the trades now. There's no plumber or electrician or anybody that you'll hire now that they'll say, oh, we need to do it this way. And you go, oh, wait a minute. Now, I know you can do it this way because I've done it. You see, you earn their respect too. You become smarter at knowing what can and can't be done. I think, again, it's everything that you're putting into this bucket all the way back has uniquely qualified you for the next step.
Yeah, and this is where it gets good, because the next step, like, I'm just getting warmed up. Now I'm thinking about something bigger than me. And this is where I'm super excited for the next chapter of my life outside of the hotels and this first family fun center. And I'll kind of get to where that got to that point is, having just 2 hotel rooms and these 2 hotels fully, sometimes we're fully, occupied during summer. So you have 40 plus rooms, tons of interaction, tons of guests. And it's a constant theme. Like, well, what is there to do in this town? Mine is go to the beach, seafood, go to the lighthouse, do the beach stuff. And I was like, there's something missing, entertainment. There's entertainment missing of something in this town. So I remember, Rhonda, the one that I bought the old hotel from, and I always had these conversations with her. And she's like, yeah, well, back in the 80s, we had everything here. This is a booming town. We had bowling alley, go-kart, putt-putt. This was all here. And I'm like, bowling alley? Like, what do you mean bowling? Like, oh yeah, you know that old building over there? That's a bowling alley. I was like, what do you mean? It's a thrift store. Like, no, that used to be the old bowling alley. Literally. So from the street, you could not tell it's a bowling alley because it doesn't look like a bowling alley. It's just a vacant building that said something thrift store, right? So I just always assume like, I'm not going in there. It's just a thrift store. I went in there that day. After she told me that day I went in there and I go in there, I'm like, holy crap. This is the building. Like, I need to buy this building. This is the building I got to do to bring back family entertainment to this town. Had the lanes there, had the bathrooms already there. Nothing's obviously in the condition of workable. I have to redo everything, but the building is there, the structure, the location is there. Somebody did the legwork in the 80s when they built this for a reason. It was a prime spot. It was like the hub of everything. The infrastructure's there. So I'm like, okay, somebody did a legwork for me. Somebody already planned this. Like, they didn't just randomly put this building. Like, it was successful. It just lost its touch. And throughout the years, the older it got depleted. It wasn't salvageable. The roof was leaking, and it just started going downhill. So I got a hold of the owner. I was like, listen, I need to buy your building. I know it's not for sale because, you know, they made it to a thrift store. So they had some money there. They're kind of operating a business out of it. But I told them, like, this is my vision. Like, I'm doing this for the community. This is not just for me. Like, I'm doing this because I have 3 kids. I'm here every single weekend. We got nothing to do here. It's a common theme of all these guests that we have, all these kids that come in. There's nothing to do in this town. It's like, I'm trying to create something to bring back jobs to the community. So it's not just for me. I'm going to bring back jobs, the environment. I'm going to bring back things that are going to give this town more excitement again. And sure enough, I sold her on it. You know, we had some negotiation, like a price, because we had to come up with a price. There was no like standard, like what's it worth, or like what it can be worth, what is it worth? So we came up with a number. We, you know, did a 7-year owner contract negotiation. That's when also I mastered the art of like negotiation and then leverage. Because now all of a sudden, I bought that building, 0 money out of pocket. I got a hard money lender to give me money for the down payment. So that's where also I'm starting to understand the vision of like, if you find the deal that's so good, like the money will come. The money will come because you're doing the hard work. Like most people that have a lot of money and they're investors at one point are in their career, they don't want to do the grit no more. They don't want to buy the buildings, physically do that. They just want to get a return on their money.
Right.
So now I'm starting the concept of like, find the deal, you find the money. Because if you guarantee that you have the track record now, you have the history, the trust, they're going to give you the money. You have to have that trust though. And when I first started, I couldn't go to a private money lender and say, hey, I need $2 million. They'd be like, yeah, what's your track record? You have none. It's getting easier now in life because I can show my portfolio. I can show my track record. They're a lot more willing to give me money. I can buy deals now, 0 money out of pocket. Why? Because I have the track record. And ultimately, if they believe that I can succeed, they're going to give me money. Yeah, it might charge me 10, 12%, you know, but it's okay. I'm getting assets, 0 money out of pocket now. But going back to our bowling alley, that was my vision. Like I wanted to bring something back. But then it's really like, what do I want to bring back? And this is where my mind just, for the last 2 years, is like every single moment of my life has been creativity. I want to create something that's so cool. That's not just U.S. I'm talking about the whole world's going to know. Like I want the whole U.S. know of this theme I'm trying to build. Like I always say to people, like imagine Chuck E. Cheese and Dave Buster had a baby. I'm trying to create that. It's not for kids, not for adults. It's for everybody. If you want a date night, you can go there. If you have kids, you can go there. So I'm trying to create a concept of, you know, a little bit of everything. There's arcades here. There's duck pin bowling, which, you know, bowling's coming back. Believe it or not, bowling's making a comeback in a different spin now. You know, so I'm doing duck pin bowling, which is the lanes about are 50 feet instead of your typical 70 feet. You know, it's the same width, but it's a 3 to 4 pound ball. So you don't need bowling shoes. Concept the same. You're still bowling, you're still hitting pins, but it gives you more square footage. It's more entertainment, it's more fun. People are competitive, still want to do it. People that might be intimidated by bowling will go there now because it's not real bowling. But people that are real bowlers will do it because it's still a concept of bowling. It's actually harder than traditional bowling. So duck pin bowling, that's my main theme there. Then I was like, okay, I did a couple of escape rooms. I always had this idea of like building an escape room because I did a couple of escape rooms. Like, this is cool. So then I'm like, I'm going to add 2 escape rooms there. And then I went into the world of golf sims because I started, messing some golf sims and then racing sims. So it's like I'm trying to take pieces of entertainment from different sectors and bring it together into one piece. But the key differences here is I'm not an expert in all these fields. So I'm going to all the experts in each field, and they're the ones that are consulting with me. They're the ones that are building the escape rooms. They're the ones that are in every industry. So it's like, I can't be everywhere,
right?
But that's their passion. Like the people that are building my escape rooms, they Sherlock Escapes. They have like 4 locations in Washington, super successful. That's their passion, their love. So when they come and I'm like, hey, I'll hire you. They're building this and I know it's going to be the best product because they've sacrificed 10 years to be in that space. They're doing that.
Are you leasing them a section of this?
Okay. I'm just paying for them. I just say, hey,
for them to do
initially I want to do partnerships, but a lot of people are like, I don't want partnership. Okay, fine. Well, how about I just pay you? So they're building me 2 escape rooms.
Nice.
Then Duck Pin Bowling, Cubica AMF, they've been around forever. They're also expanding the world of entertainment outside of just bowling. They're going into pubs now all across the world. Like bowling's evolving. So I'm using their expertise. Arcades, just every single sector of this industry is expanding, but I'm trying to create it into one section that is different because it's not 40,000 square feet, where it's out of reach for most people like me to build. And I don't want to build something that big. This is gonna be like a boutique style of entertainment. So it's not, it's not 50,000 square feet. It's that sweet spot, like 20,000 square feet. But it's going to be such cool entertainment that where if you go there and you spend $200, I want you to leave there saying that's the best $200 I ever spent. You have no bad feeling or no like regrets of spending that $200-$300 because it's pure fun entertainment and memories. And that's what I'm trying to create there. This atmosphere of like, go in there, spend $300, but I don't care. There's some places where you go and you have regrets, like, I got gypped. I don't want that. So that's my key thing is make sure I make money in the process because this is a big project. It's costing me a lot of money. I got to have a lot of overhead, but I want people to leave there and come back because they're going to be like, that was fun. And that's my mission here is to create experiences that families will kind of go back to what we used to have. And this is where I kind of go back like history. I'm trying to, in the 80s, we had that. We had rollerblading. We had bowling alleys. We had more entertainment that forced us to kind of go to places and socialize. We kind of lost that. With technology, it kind of went away. It's making a comeback. I think in the next 5 years, there's going to be a true comeback to where now it's going to be not normal to be on your phone so much because it's became such a norm that society now is saying it's not healthy. So I think I'm at the start of something new where entertainment is making a comeback. And it's not like entertainment, it's like social interaction.
Right.
And that's where what I'm trying to do is something, I truly believe in this so much that I want to mimic this. I want to replicate this. And this is where I believe this is the beginning of something exciting. Because I want to replicate this in other locations.
That you have is the drive. You see it. Talk to me about the town. It's a small town. And something like this is obviously it has to have a certain volume of business to keep it going. Is it a seasonal thing in Westport?
Definitely. Westport's always been seasonal, but it's changing a little bit because there's random days in the wintertime where we're sold out. So it used to always be very seasonal, but times are changing. Why? Because people are understanding we're 2 hours away from Seattle. A lot of rich people in Seattle. There's like
people
getaways.
Can work remotely too.
So
I think to get out of the city and go to the ocean and work out of their hotel room for a couple of days.
Yeah. And my biggest thing is, my wife's on the, lodging committee. I'm trying to get more involved with the city there because maybe it was by design, maybe it wasn't, but the city did a horrible job marketing itself. Maybe it was by design. Maybe they didn't want to grow. I get it. A lot of cities like this don't want growth because the old way of doing business. So the last 5 years, they've done a better job advertising. You see Seabrook, you see Ocean Shores. More people know more about that place, but Westport's kind of like hidden gem. People liked it like that. The locals liked it. But all of a sudden now we're past that point. Like it or not, like they can't stop what's happening. So now, it's on Evening Magazine, it's on the news more, Westport. It's getting on the map more to where you're an hour and a half drive from Olympia, less than that, 2 hours from Seattle. It's just a beautiful town. Seafood there, like it's just amazing boardwalk, like the boats, like the beaches. I mean, Westport is a surfing town, believe it or not. People from San Diego come here and surf all year round.
Right.
I don't know how people do it, but it's like 20 degrees out there. People are surfing because it's the perfect swells.
I know one that's there almost every other weekend.
Yeah. So it's
in a
super
wetsuit.
cool. Like that area is just, I can't even explain it. It's awesome. It's like my home away from home. I don't know if I'd ever want to live there full time because I kind of like, that interaction of like still living where I live at, but going there. It just feels like a destination. I don't know if I ever want to live in the business 24/7. I think being away 2 hours does give you that separation because I think you kind of need that separation because all of a sudden your business might consume you if you live on site. I know you'd be at your locations all the time. And I think I kind of really want that separation a little bit, but the town is it's growing on me more and more. I mean, I just had a couple of weeks ago, they had a city council meeting and this is my first one I attended in person. Something inside me said, you got to say something. So I just went in front of the whole crowd and gave my little speech. It was like they had to cut me off because they said I had 2 minutes and I was like talking like it was a campaign, like I'm running for office. And I didn't know what I said. At the end of it, I asked my wife, like how bad did I sound? I was like, you're good. I'm like, I didn't know what I said. Something just came to me and I was like, I'm here for the people. We got to make sure we care about, the growth that, we don't push people out. But I truly do believe that.
Your enthusiasm just bubbles over.
Yeah. And I do believe in growth, but also we do have to be cognizant about, the people that have lived there their whole life. We do have to remember that. There has to be a balance. And that's why I always say, I'm different because I'm not like an investor that's just out here just for greed or trying to make money. No, it's just together, like a community together can solve some of these problems. Like with the STR regulations, too many Airbnbs, there's just education. And I think together, little areas like that, we can accomplish so much if we just work together because ultimately they're always complaining about we don't have money for police officers. Well, yeah, we don't have money for police officers if you don't have revenue. It goes both hands. You make more money by growth,
right.
Tax revenue, then you can increase your pay for police officers. You can't hire police officers. You won't the lowest paying, in Washington State because you have no job, you have no revenue from tax revenue. So it works hand in hand. And this is where the locals have to understand, there should be a balance between not pushing everybody out. There's a lot of misinformation too. People think, STRs push people out of pricing. Well, that's not necessarily true. A lot of times it's just the state itself has pushed people out. It's nothing to do with Airbnbs, but certain communities like that, they think Airbnbs are the root cause of it. If you really think about it, that's not what's happening. It's the state in general is expensive, but it's been an exciting journey to now think bigger than the project. Now I'm thinking about the growth of a city. I have all these ideas for them. I'm like, can we do this? Can we do sidewalks here? Can we do lights? What if people want to walk from my bowling alley all the way downtown? We need path lanes. There's so many things I want to do for the city. But I'm like, I can't do that. I'm not in charge. Right. I talk to the mayor all the time.
You might be.
But I talk to the mayor all the time, and I get there's a process to do all this.
Right.
But I'm seeing things so different. This is what we need, you guys. This is what the city needs. We need this here, and we need this here, and a lot of it's not even for me. It's just the idea. It's like Lego. It's literally. I'm telling you, I truly believe real estate is real life Legos and Monopoly. And I've always loved Monopoly and Legos. Right. And I'm playing it in real life. And now that I feel that, I'm like, this is Boardwalk. I have Boardwalk and Park Place. Right. And I have the green properties here.
Yeah.
I literally have those 5 properties.
Yeah. Martin,
it's so cool.
What you just said there, the sport of real estate, that you can feel in your enthusiasm that it's like a game you love. It's a game I love, and I see a vision, and I want to play it out. I think that just the vibe that you bring is a challenge to people. to say, what is your version of that? What is it that you lay awake thinking about and scheming and dreaming on? What is it that you're visioning and building in your mind? It has to ask that question to a lot of people. Dream lofty dreams, and as ye dream, so shall ye become. Your vision is the promise of what at last shall unveil itself. Ruskin.
Yeah.
It all starts in your mind. And if you can put it together there and you believe it, then it's just go. Do it. The way will show itself. And I think that we get caught in this spreadsheet world of saying, here's what's doable, here's what isn't, here's what the numbers look like, here's this, here's that. And we hear a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I've sat at conferences where I'm just getting blurry with numbers and spreadsheets and analyses. But rarely do I hear the vision and the passion that drives the project to a whole different level of success. Because it's not just a project; it becomes a piece of life, and I embrace this approach. If it's not romantic, you look up on the wall there, one of those license plates. I'm looking at it right now. Romantic. Yeah. If it's not romantic, if it isn't something that captures your passion, who the hell cares? Why invest your life in something that's just mechanical and it's a means to an end? Mm-hmm. Which I just couldn't imagine. I have always, for over 50 years, loved what I do. I get excited to get up because I'm creating something. And I can feel that in you. And I wish I could extract and inject that in so many people, because it's not just an ingredient of success. It is the measure of, did you live a life that had impact? Right? At the end of the day, did you make a difference? That's the only question anybody's going to ask. You're making a difference. Your passion is infectious. People will start coming to you now saying, oh my God, this is the guy who, if he gets on board with this, it's done. Yeah. It's going to happen, because look at what he's doing to this city. Look at what he's doing to our town. Get him involved. It'll happen. If he can embrace the vision, look out, it's all over. Yeah. I mean that it's working from the inside out, not the outside in. Nothing you create on the outside is ever going to change the inside. You got to connect with your inside and then play it out. And that's what you're doing. And
I love it.
It's unbelievable. It really is.
It's just creativity. There's so many things I still want to say in this podcast. I'm running out of time. But it's just ongoing creativity. Like, the RV park at one of our hotels had this idea to do a coffee shop, right? Yeah. So I finally got the little coffee shop I always talked about. Yeah. We have a drive-through coffee shop now. And it was a gamble, because my wife's like, I don't know if this is good here. There's days where we do $700-800 a day on average. Right. And it's a little drive-through coffee shop, because it was that idea. And then sometimes, hopefully, knock on wood, my idea doesn't go sideways, but I truly believe in, you build it, they will come. And then the money follows. Yeah. There has to be always conservative. I don't go into things that I truly do not believe will make money. Yes, obviously, right. I'm always
cognizant
of making decisions that I truly believe, listen, I know, because you're in the trenches. Yeah. You know something when you're there every day. Right. You feel it. Right. You know the demand. Yes. You don't go into a hypothetical of what I think. No, you're going there with, I know this is needed. Yes. We added 4 tiny houses there now. So there's so many things I'm still exploring. Right. And it's endless creativity. And that's where I tell my kid, there's so many ways to make money with real estate. Yeah. It's just being creative, and that's what I love about real estate, especially real estate with businesses incorporated with it. That's where the more I'm getting more and more into that. The more I get into real estate, the more I'm diving into the business side of it, which I think at one point I always wanted that.
Yeah.
It was that business side of it. But this is the beauty about business and real estate together, because you really make your wealth is when you have that real estate. Because the business is hard to leverage alone, but the real estate part of it, with the valuations of what it make and the cap rates, that's when you start getting value that you can leverage. And now all of a sudden you can get millions of dollars to help your other deals. And that's what I'm, getting with understanding real estate with business combined.
You're about a year away from at least the ability to retire responsibly with the integrity you have in your day job. I can't even imagine. This is going to be like watching this flight path, this takeoff path, and it's just going to go like.
Oh, it's exciting! I can't wait. Because I already have it all planned out.
Right.
I'm going to call it Rafiq Moore on here because I met him a couple of weeks ago, and I listened to his podcast that he was on here several times.
Yeah.
Because very similar. A lot of his words that he says is, I feel that too.
Yeah.
And I know he's doing crazy things out there with the creativity, the dying malls.
Yeah.
And I know that me and him together, and I'm going to call him out here because deliberate action. I always say deliberate action. Like I want to solve some of his problems, and his spaces that have these, put them in there.
Right.
And that's where my journey now is purpose and also like deliberate action. Like I already have 3 locations in Washington State. I can't say too much because my wife's like, no, stop talking about it. Because I got to give a lot of credit to my wife. So the whole time I never got a chance to really talk about my wife.
Yeah.
Because she has been there from day one with my craziness, my bipolar, attitude, my mood swings, because it's a lot. It takes a lot on you when you're trying to do so much. Yeah. You have good days and bad days. But from the beginning, my wife's always been there. She's been there throughout the whole journey, right? She's the one that in the middle of the night, I'm like, sign here, like just sign it. Like, what am I signing? Just don't worry about it. Sign it. She always just has my belief. She believes in me, right? But then she has to pick up the pieces. Because you got to remember, I'm the visionary. I put it together, do construction. Somebody still has to operate these businesses.
Right.
That's to my wife.
Right.
I mean, I can do everything, but if the end product doesn't run, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
She's been running the businesses. She hires the employees. She manages everything, the day-to-day, the operations, expenses. Like she runs that. And I keep adding more and more onto her plate.
We'll need to do another one of these and bring Stevie where we can kind of get her side of the backside of this. Okay,
100%.
Created. Now let's talk about the management of businesses.
Yes.
And yet at the theme, what is so cool about this is that you have a real property asset. Take this new family fun center that's being built. You have a real property asset. That's the dirt, sticks, bricks in the building, but the tenant in that is you.
Correct.
It's your business. You'll never find a tenant better than yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And what you can do with that too, in terms of what is the lease amount, you decide, and you can play one with the other to work it to where it's mutually profitable for the real estate and the business and you. There's a lot of ways to, when you own both, to interplay from a tax perspective, from all these perspectives, right?
100%.
And so I look at simple models that where a business that's run very, very well and provides an incredible service, what people don't see oftentimes when you see, oh, there's another one of that. What they really don't see is that the business sometimes can be secondary to the fact that the business's purpose is first to pay off the dirt and the building.
Correct.
You take many models. We are all familiar with the McDonald's model that isn't about hamburgers. It's about real estate, right? Or locally, we have, I'm familiar with a company that is just an amazing company called Les Schwab Tire. And, there's 880 stores and they all operate like exactly the same, but for the most part, those are owned pieces of ground and building that they're in, right? So it's how they can play together, really play together. And I think that it's a beautiful vision, not only for the community and providing something really great for the community, but it can also fill a real vacancy right now in a lot of retail malls where the big box is always the problem. In the big box, what do you do with that? Well, if you can carve out 20,000 feet out of that big box and really do something fantastic with it, that people know this is how great this experience is, and there's more than one of them around, you're off and running. This could be the start of many.
Yeah.
So
I have a number. I do 30 valuation. I'll be $500 million.
Yeah.
And this is where you start. You start thinking big.
Yeah.
Bigger than just yourself.
Yeah.
And now you can become Chick-fil-A, McDonald's.
Right. Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
And that's right. Now I'm like, why not?
Right.
Why not create that legacy of like, I want people to remember me as like the guy that was crazy, the visionary, the dreamer.
Right.
The dreamer that actually did something with his dreams.
The Ray Kroc of our day. I love it.
And that's where I'm like, man, I'm onto something. Like I feel it in my blood. I feel like this is the beginning of something bigger than just making money and doing one location. Only because I want the journey. But this is where I have to take a pause sometimes and not forget my family. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, this is like addiction. Once you start feeling the success and the addiction of these projects, it overtakes you to the point where sometimes you can do it at all costs.
Yeah.
And I have to always remember to take a step back and say, hey, I don't want to lose everything in the process. Right. That's my family. Because without them, I wouldn't accomplish any of this. And also, I want them to not regret later saying, well, Father did all this, but he forgot about us.
Right.
So that's I'm also realizing, include them in it, but also make it fun. Make it to where they're enjoying it too.
Right.
And, like I brought my kitty here, not because my goal is I want you to take over this. I want you to get into real estate. Absolutely not. Like whatever he wants to do, I'm going to support it. I just want to give him the opportunity to say, hey, you can do this. Look what you can do. Just that mindset, but I want them to be involved, because if they're not involved, they're going to treat it as, this is more important than anything for me. They're going to treat it as like, you didn't care about us. You just cared about your business, about your growth. That's not true. Tomorrow, if I had to give everything up to be with you guys, I would. Because at the point, like, you guys are still number one. But together, if we build this, I just want to make sure I don't lose them in the process. And that's why I'm always like, and my wife's the one that always balances me out, saying, hey, don't get ahead of yourself. Like, let's finish one. But I know she always believes in me. But it was always that constant struggle with me is like, don't forget also what's important, which is family, like, your kids, your wife. And I say this on the podcast, but now it's the action of actually doing it.
Right. Right.
Well,
it's holding you accountable to your own words. And that's healthy. That's awesome. I want to throw something out again. I'm pulling pieces out that I want to make sure people get. There are many, many people that see and get to experience, let's just call them great people. You mentioned Rafiq. Great person. You are coming into that. People go, wow, look at this guy. I would challenge everybody to go back to the first parts of this podcast and say, what were the ingredients? What was the tuition? What was the experiences you've had that have uniquely qualified you to take on the task of this kind of endeavor? And usually you'll find, I would say almost across the board, you'll find chapters of confusion, chapters of frustration, chapters of adversity, where you've had to overcome and redefine and debrief and overcome and redefine. In other words, the process, you've said many, many times, the journey, when you look at what qualifies somebody to even think the way they think or to do what they do, you can't skip the training process. You can't skip. And so recognizing that wherever you're at is a school. Game is in session. And to embrace that no matter where you're at, what you're doing, it can become, if you frame it right, this is for a reason that's going to serve me, and keep believing in that. We tend to want to wish difficult chapters away. Oh my God, why did I take on this project? This is so ridiculous. And we moan ourselves all the way through. Or we could say, wow, what an opportunity to learn and grow that I've just bitten into. Look, I'm going to learn how to frame, wire, plumb. Look at what I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm in YouTube school every night going, how do you do that? How do you do that? Right at midnight. So I'm ready for 5 o'clock the next morning to do it. You know, it's all how you embrace the challenge, but there's a common thread there. People don't run from it. They lean into it, and you've leaned into it. Even the confusion of like, God, what's going on inside of me?
Yeah.
You didn't just wish it away. You stayed with figuring it out, and it never left. And then it finally, there's an on-ramp. Oh, what about this? And boom, that first little RV park. Light bulb. Wow. Okay. This is my outlet for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I love this. I can do this. This makes sense. But if you abandon it way back here, you see, didn't realize that you're being bred for something, you would have missed that off-ramp. You would have missed that opportunity. The next thing I want to point out is that as I know you, you're a student of the game. You're learning. We were in Minnesota 2 weeks ago. Oh, you're here. You're here learning. I got to speak at that group you were at, and there you are, taking notes with your son. Awesome. Catch a flight. Go there. Learn. What's here for me? Power players, coming up. You haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
But it's coming. It's going to be an addition to your deal structuring, your toolbox. I don't know. I'm impressed, Martin, and I think that whenever somebody is impressed by somebody, you've got to do a little autopsy and ask yourself the questions. What qualities do I need in my life to move closer to that impressive thing? I've had a couple amazing mentors, and believe me, I dissected them. What is it about how they think and what they do and how they act? So you've mentioned one great uncle who's been a great, great mentor. Tell me a couple books. Tell me a couple podcasts. Tell me something that you are filling your brain with that you think everybody should listen to, everybody should read. Give me a couple things that have influenced you.
My biggest book that kind of led me on this whole track was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Because it's not even about real estate.
Yeah.
It's just a way of life.
Yeah.
There's clues in life every single day.
Yeah.
Do we take those clues and run with it? There's clues that tell you not to do something. Your gut. Follow your gut. Mm-hmm. Like I recently had this deal that fell apart because the sellers, for whatever reason, they gave me the sob story. I know it's BS probably. They just want to put it on the market. But I followed my gut. I said, you know what? There's a reason why that happened. It's called like a red light, yellow light. Just let that deal go. But my whole journey now has been about green lights. And that book, if you read it, is the way of his life, the way he's approached life, his success, very different than most people, the way he thinks. Mm-hmm. And I'm very similar. I kind of think kind of how he does. There's patterns in life. There's clues. And it's funny because that same time I was listening to that book, it was the same time my uncle sent me that deal about that hotel. The same time I'm commuting to Seattle. I'm on the treadmill, high-rise building. I look over and I see a bright green light in the window. Random green light. The same day he sent me that deal, the same day I'm like, my mind's just, I got it, rat race. Get it out of this rat race. I see this green light and I'm like, that's a green light. If somebody's not telling me that's a green light, because I was debating about, I got to cash in my 401k. It's $100,000, 401k. Mm-hmm. They always say, don't cash out your 401ks. We're always told, don't touch your 401k. Don't pay the penalty. Saw that green light in that window when I was jogging in a treadmill. I'm like, that's a freaking green light. If that's not a sign, legitimately a green light, I was like, I got to do it. I told my uncle.
Sometimes there's hints, and sometimes there's just green lights.
It was a green light. And I'm like, all right, that is like legitimately, I told the wife, I was like, we're buying this. Like, trust me. What do you mean? I had this green light. Like, are you crazy or something? Like, trust me. Read this book, Green Lights. So me and my sister, my brother, everything in life now is about green lights. We always say, that's a green light. Do it. There's a reason why this happened. Green light. Yeah. Green light. Yeah. Everything's been green lights. By the time this podcast goes live, there's another big deal. I haven't talked about this other big deal that we're a part of right now. Another opportunity that we're buying. Fishing resort. We're bringing back a fishing resort in Pierce County. Something so cool. There's just so many stories I still have that we're just in the beginning. Yeah. And I'm diving more into green lights. Right. It's just things happen for a reason. I bought this house on the lake, right? Last year, 2 years ago. This thing was on the market. I was like, I don't have $1.6 million. I don't have that money. What do? I called them. I said, I want this house. This is the lake that I grew up on. I have a picture of 15 years ago, us on the lake, on a log, and in the background, there's like a vacant lot. That's where the house sits. I had the pictures of that already. This house was on the market, and I told him, I don't have money, man, but I need this house. We did a wrap. I took over his mortgage. I found a lender to give me the money for his down payment. I bought that zero money out of pocket. A house, my dream house on the lake, I bought on a wrap. You're telling me 5 years that's possible. Yeah. I told people this story, I bought that dream house on the lake with zero of my money. What do you mean? It's possible. It's called creative financing. Yeah. Find the deal, find the money. Yeah. That's all it is. Pitch it. All they can say is no. Right. But it's opportunity at the right timing. The market, is different. The rate's so high, he couldn't sell it. It would have been a wash if he sold it. He didn't want to lose money, so he sold it on a wrap. There's so many ways. That deal led to the green light. There's an RV park on the lake we live on. I grew up on the RV park. I used to go fishing there. It's a fishing resort. It has cabins on the Airbnb. We're buying that. We're going to bring back the resort now. It's always been operating. We're just bringing back history again, revive it. It's been there for 30 years, just depleted. It just needs new love. It needs new, tech. It needs new marketing, advertising. We're buying that deal. That only happened because we got the other deal on that house. Because
green light. Green light leads to a green light.
Yeah. But you just keep deliberate action, though, because you plant the seed. The RV park planted the seed. Right. It's all planting the seeds. Yeah. And that's when you start planting the seeds, it all catches up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't just go into a random deal and say, I want to buy. No, you have to have the balance and respect, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't come off of the arrogant guy that's trying to buy everything out there to make a lot of money. You can't do that because you're going to rub people the wrong way. Yeah. It's like you always say, it's art. You got to find the way to... I'm not saying be fake because it's not fake. You're not being fake, but it's being real. Yeah, it's sincere. Yeah. Be sincere. Yeah. Most people, they want to help you. Most people, when they're ready to retire, everything has a shelf life. Mm-hmm. A lot of these businesses, people don't want to own until they're 70, 80 years old. They all have shelf lives. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the kids maybe don't have an interest in it. They all have exit plans. Be there for their exit plan. That's all it is. But structure it to where they're happy, you're happy. That's all it is. And a lot of times it's, you have to find the way to where you're negotiating with them where you don't piss them off enough to where screw you, but also it makes sense on both ends. And that's where I'm finding the beauty about these assets that I'm buying is they're very, there's a lot of things that goes in them. They're not just, easy assets like a building. It's just, they're businesses. And that's where it gives me more opportunity because there's not so many people that are going after these, because it takes a lot more creativity.
But the asset and the business coming together.
But the returns are also 10x other assets. Yeah, right. This is where also I'm realizing one deal can have a valuation of $5-6 million,
right. Yeah.
Because of the creativity behind it. Yeah, and you can just...
This is the right thinking, and you're on it, and it's a hard thing to teach. But again, I put in that so much of what went in the blender has created this kind of not only competency but passion behind it.
Yeah.
How do people get a hold of you? How do they give you feedback on this podcast? How do they ask you questions if you're willing to answer them in the future?
I always will be, because I know what it's like sometimes being stuck in a place where you just need some guidance.
Yeah.
You need some help. And sometimes we get so busy, people don't have time to reach back out or respond to that text message. But I will always try to do my best to at least acknowledge somebody and say, hey, this is what I can do. Because ultimately, like for example, yourself, I reached out to you because I listened to you and I was like, I got to get a hold of you right away. You're like, I got you. I wasn't even expecting you, because most times you reach out to other people, they're like, I'm not texting back that guy. Like, I don't have time for this. I'm too big for this person.
Yeah.
You're not. You still took that time, and you still do to this day, every single person. I want to be that guy too. Like, I will give my number out. I always say, hey, call me.
Give me your number.
Yes.
Go ahead.
310-469-2894. That's 310-469-2894. Or my email is martin@divinelodging.com. Email or, text, or I'll always try to, it's my passion now too. So like I said, I told you we're running out of time. There's still so many things I could say, but we'll get a different time.
We're gonna do a round 2. We're gonna get your bride here to kind of give the left brain follow through management side of all of what is being created here. That would be awesome. I really, really, I just can't thank you enough for being here and being a part of the Power Player community. Your energy, your enthusiasm, your fearlessness. These are things that are just so awesome. And I just can't wait to watch this journey. It's really going to be something. And your son Jaden will be there in Bend and at Power Players. And I don't know. It's just it's what this community is about. Is about passion and competency, and you're doing all of that. So, Martin, honestly, thank you very, very much. We're gonna call it a day, and thank you for watching. And of course, as you have questions of me, I'm blessed with all kinds of feedback and questions. My direct cell is 206-226-7777, Greg@thecoreco.com. God bless.
Thank you.